Hello, welcome to Dundrolls Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. So I was supposed to review The Northman, the new Robert Eggers movie. I think that's the guy's name. The guy who directed The Witch and the Lighthouse. But I kept making plans with people, and it kept getting canceled. So I'm like, hey, forget it. I'll just watch the movie at home. And I watched I watched a review for Love Lisa, and I'm like, yeah, let's watch a depressing movie. So I watched the 1999 film Bringing Out the Dead, which is directed by Martin Scorsese. It's rated R. It stars Nicolas Cage as Frank Pierce. Patricia Arquette's in the film, so is John Goodman, Ving Rhames, and Tom Sizemore. And the movie is written by Paul Schrader, who is the screenwriter for Taxi Driver. He's also directed films, right? And I think he directed The Exorcist. That was probably, I think that was someone else actually. But he did direct that Oscar Isaac movie that last year, The Car Counter, which I haven't seen it. People were saying it was supposed to be one of the best movies of that year. Yeah, so the movie is about an ambulance medic, Frank Pierce, played by Nicolas Cage, and the movie is set in the 90s, which for some reason the movie tells you this. Hey, this movie's set in the 90s. Keep in mind, this movie came out in 1999, so it's like, well, I think we would have figured it out. It was supposed to take place in the 90s. I don't know why they felt the need to tell us that, but whatever, they did, right? Even though it's not like people were dressed like very retro-esque. It looked, it looked very much people were dressed for the times, right? So like, Nicolas Cage is this burnt-out ambulance medic who hasn't saved anybody in months, and is suffering from insomnia. He thinks he sees stuff, and he's seeing people, like the ghosts of people he failed to save, including this one teenage runaway named Rose, who he constantly sees the face of. Which sometimes it looks like they just put the actress Rose in the outfits of like the different people, but sometimes they look like they superimpose her head over somebody else's body, and it looks super weird. Yeah, so the movie opens up with typical Scorsese fashion, with the main character narrating with like a Rolling Stones like song. I think they played like two Rolling Stones songs in the beginning of the movie, right? So like the movie is like almost 2 hours, and like the beginning of the film, you follow Nicolas Cage with John Candy, and they save this old man who suffered from a heart attack, and he's the father of Patricia Arquette, who is this former junkie who Nicolas Cage throughout the film starts to have this romance with, right? And he starts to have this romance with, because for some reason, like he feels like attached to this girl, right? And other parts in the movie, there's a part where he's partnered up with Ving Rhames, which Ving Rhames is awesome in the movie. This is like the most entertaining I've ever seen Ving Rhames in a movie, who plays this like medic who's like a black gospel like singer, like and he's also a womanizer too. Right? Which is like fantastic. And like they end up crashing the he ends up crashing the ambulance halfway through the movie at the end of their shift, and like Nicolas Cage is like, "Fuck it, I quit," because he was for the he's been trying to quit his job for a long time now because he's stressed out, he's burnt out, but they won't let him quit because there's a shortage of medics in like New York City, which I forgot to mention. The movie takes place in New York City, and it actually does look like New York City. It's not like other Nicolas Cage movies I watched where it's like, oh, that's obviously somewhere in Ontario where they shot it. But here, the movie actually looks like it's shot in like New York City, right? Which is a Scorsese movie, so of course it was. So like so for the final act of the movie, well, there is like a section of the movie where he's hanging out with Patricia Arquette, and she's like she relapsed into drugs, and he gets to see this really ugly side of her, right? And it kind of broke my heart because, man, I've known people who've dated like drug addicts, and like I've had family members who were drug addicts, so I kind of get the, you love somebody, but like they get into that like drug addict lifestyle, and you just want to be rid of them, right? But you can't because you love them too much. So it's like, fuck, that reminded me of that. Yeah, so like in the final act of the movie, he gets partnered up with Tom Sizemore's character, who is fucking insane, man. He's like, man, I'm out for. He's like, man, I'm out for blood. It's gonna be blood. It's a full moon, Frank. The streets of New York's be running with blood or some shit. He's fucking insane, man. He wants to see like blood and guts everywhere, right? And he beats up on this crazy guy earlier in the film, I think he's played by Ricky Martin, not Ricky Martin. Who was that one singer / actor who used to date? Oh, Marc Anthony. Yeah, he's played by Marc Anthony, right? And yeah, he plays this crazy guy who's constantly at the hospital, and they have to tie him up because he has this condition where he drinks too much. He constantly wants to drink water, and if you drink too much water, it can kill you actually, because it fucks up your like electrolytes or some shit. I can't remember, but like I remember there was like on the radio. I don't know if anybody remembers this story, but they had this contest. Some radio station had this contest where if you drink like a certain amount of water, they would give out a free Nintendo Wii, and this old lady did that, trying to get the Wii for her grandson or something, and she ended up dying. Something about too much water in your body can like I forgot. They explained it to me in high school, and I fucking forget. Something about your atoms? I don't fucking know. But yeah, if you drink too much water, it can kill you, right? Yeah, so like the final act of the movie, he's partnered up with Tom Sizemore, man. And man, Tom Sizemore's character is like, I don't know, he's like coked up to the gills, man. He's so high energy, man. The movie would have been better if Nicolas Cage was partnered up with him the entire movie. Though like John Goodman was good, and though John Goodman's character was low level and like was low energy. Ving Rhames was mid energy, but like fucking Tom Sizemore's up there, man. He's like fucking Super Saiyan God energy, man. He was the best part of the movie. I would love to see a sequel of this movie, man. If Tom Sizemore can do it in his like 60s, man, he was the best. He was the best part of this movie, man. And yeah, there's also a great scene with Cliff Curtis, who was Smiley in Training Day, and he plays a drug dealer in the movie, right? And yeah, there's this like subplot where there's this drug called Red Death that's killing everybody, right? So yeah, the movie, it's it's a drama, but it's really a very dark comedy, and it's like a character piece on the Nicolas Cage character, how he slowly goes crazy, but like he finds like solace with this the one damaged Patricia Arquette, which, man, it wasn't that long ago. Like between this, like this movie is only like 5 years. Like was 5 years after 5 years after True Romance, and she hit the wall between those 5 years, man. Holy shit, she still looks good in the movie, but holy fuck, man, she was like fucking gorgeous in True Romance, and she looks bad here, but like she's supposed to be playing like an ex drug addict, right? But yeah, like the movie, if I had it's the thing where I kind of get why people kind of hated this movie. This movie apparently bombs because it's like this dark, depressing, like emotional movie, right? But then it's like you have the dark humor elements, and you have like the fucking soundtrack, which is very like, you know, all over. Like the soundtrack is like all over the place, man. Holy shit! It didn't really fit like the dark, like the drama scenes at all. That's the thing where it's like some parts. That's why I call this movie dark comedy, because it's like super depressing drama, and then at some points you got like funny scenes, man. Like holy shit, it's fucking like out there. I can see why like audiences were mixed on this movie, but I would definitely watch the movie again for the dark comedy scenes. But like, yeah, it's just weird. And like, if you ever seen that montage with Nicolas Cage losing his shit, there's like one scene where he starts screaming like in like an empty room, and it's like pans down on him as he tilts his head screaming and holding his head. That scene is in the movie, and in context, that scene is actually done very well. He only has like one or two like short freakouts in the movie, and in the context of the movie, it's very good. Like I used to before I watched that movie, and before I heard Brad Jones, actually defend Nicolas Cage. I used to think Nicolas Cage was a shitty actor, but he's very good at displaying like characters, who are damaged and like who are going insane, man. And he's like A-list actor who can do that, man. Like not a lot of actors can't really play aren't very good at playing burnt out like crazy characters. He does it in a very convincing way, man. Like distressed, damaged fucking characters, man. Him and Michael Fassbender, oh my god. So yeah, I like the movie, but if it's a thing where if you go in like thinking, oh, it's gonna be a dark, depressing movie, it kinda is, but then it's like it's like super dark, and like it's dark humor. It's dark humor. At times it's a very fun movie to watch, but but it's mostly like a drama. But yeah, so if I were to give a movie a rating, I would say it's a 7 out of 10. But like not, some people might not like it because of how how weird it is, man. And because Nicolas Cage is like seeing shit, the movie's like hyper realism at times, right? Where he's like seeing shit. There's a scene where like a guy is impaled on like a fence, and the sparks from them cutting the fence off the guy off the fence, the sparks are flying out, and this takes place at New York at night. So like the guy who's impaled is like, man, it kind of looks like fire. The sparks in the night. The skyline makes it look like fireworks, and then Nicolas Cage actually sees fireworks. It's like, oh my god! Also, I forgot to mention that lots of actors from The Wire and The Sopranos have bit parts in the movie. So I guess somebody who worked on HBO like had a hand in the casting. So like you had like people like Tony Soprano's sister, Carlo plays the captain. Omar's in the film. Kim, the black female detective, plays like Cliff Curtis's girlfriend in the movie. And you also had Angel from like Dexter's in the movie, who also was in the. He wasn't in The Wire, but he was on Oz, which is another HBO show. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this movie. Peace, guys.